This video is on how to make ceramic wall art. Now this is something that anybody in the family can do. It's very easy to do, time consuming, but it's well worth it because it gives you quality time with your family and it gives you a memory, not only of the process of making it, but also it's something that you can put on your wall, something that you can have on display and just show everyone. Now you can use them for any occasion, Christmas, Easter, birthdays, even the birth of a baby.
First thing that you want to do is get clay, just plain old ordinary clay, and you want to flatten it out. Now the easiest thing to do would be to use PVC pipe because it's something that you can just throw away afterwards. I'm doing it on a box just so I don't get everything messy. Well, you get the PVC pipe and you kind of use it as a roller and get everything straight without any fingerprints on it or anything like that while you're mashing it down to get it even. And then at that point, you have a perfectly flat chunk of clay without any marks or streaks on it. Next, you want to kind of figure out what you want for designs. I'm just going to use these circles, and you can use anything as far as a household appliance or tools or anything that's just got a cool shape to it. You press the shapes down firmly so that you can see a deep indentation in them, and you just do however you would like to do it as you just kind of figure out what your design is going to be.
Whereas normally you can just use the outline of the box and keep it a simple square shape, I actually am going to get a cup because I want to keep it a round design. I just want to keep it all in the same. Since I started off with circles, I think I'd like to end it with the circle. So I've got simple plate pressed over my design. I've got the knife, just a simple butter knife, and I'm just going to cut my way through the clay to do the outline of what I want to make. The finishing result so far, even though it's not done, would be this really cool design. I also am going to add one last touch with the bottom of my lighter. I think it would be really cool just to have different little designs in each of the circles. Something different, something fun. As I hope you can see, I have gone along all of the edges. I've pressed on it so that hopefully it will stay firm by the time that I get to the point where I'm ready to add the plaster. Okay, now we've got our plaster of Paris. And the directions on here say 1/3 for every 1 1/3 cup of water. So I don't really want to get my dishes dirty, so I just cut a vinegar bottle in half that was empty. So I just put the plaster of Paris in there. Now I'm going to slowly add water to it, and I'm going to use my PVC pipe to mix it, just because I don't want to mess. I want to be able to throw everything away after I'm done. So I've got to mix it around so it gets a nice consistency. It can't be clumpy, so you've got to make sure you get those clumps out. You also have to make sure that you get all the way to the bottom so you don't still have powder mixed in with everything. Now I'm looking at the consistency of it, and it looks almost like I need to add a little bit more plaster. It's just a bit watery if you see it. And it's really just kind of a game playing with it. You just add a little bit, tiny bit of plaster, and just mix it up a little bit more until you get the right consistency. And finally, you need to find something to put on the back of it. You can get just a regular hanger or anything like that. We use can tops. Figure out where you want the top to be on your design and where you want to be able to hook it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to slowly kind of slide the top in and run my fingers across it And make sure that you don't go all the way through, that way you don't have the little bracket showing. And make sure it's in there so that when as the plaster dries, it will dry on it. And now we're going to let it sit overnight and let the fun stuff start tomorrow. As you leave it overnight so that it can dry, make sure that the top of the can lid that you've placed on it still sticks out a little bit so that you're able to hang it up once it's all a dried object. Then make sure as you see it overnight that it's in a warm, dry place. If it gets wet, your whole project is ruined.
Well, according to the directions on the plaster of Paris, after a few hours of sitting, you're supposed to take the clay off and flip it over and let it air dry. However, I don't do it like that. I just let it sit for about 24 hours and then I pull all of the clay off.
Well, I'm going to start by taking all the edging off and go all the way around, removing the clay. And then I'm going to slowly start to peel my base off, going all the way around the edges first. Well, finally, we come to the really fun part of all of it, painting your design. Now you can use any kind of paint that you find. I just use simple, ordinary little paints that you can buy at H-E-B. Now I've got to figure out what I'm going to do with this. What color design am I going to do? And this is the best part of it all because you can just spend forever thinking about what design how you want to paint your design. Okay, I have finished painting the entire thing and this is my finished project. Now I'm either going to hang it up on the wall or I might put it on a plate holder for display. I'm not quite sure yet, but I still have to finish letting the paint dry, so I'm going to let it sit out again overnight before I hang it up on the wall. Also, final reminder, I hope that while you were doing this, that you did not eat any of the clay, or the plaster, or the paint. It is all toxic. Nothing that we used was edible. And I hope you enjoyed this project today. I thank you very much for your time.